Hello everyone, I'm Theo Ishart from Henry Stewart Events, and I'm delighted to welcome you to today's webinar, Unleashing the Potential of the CI Hub product family for DAM 2025 and beyond, kindly sponsored by CI Hub. During the session, please send through your questions at any point using the questions box, which you can open by clicking on the question mark at the top of your GoToWebinar window. Also a reminder that a recording of this session will be sent to you tomorrow, so you can view it again at your own pace. Now it's my great pleasure to pass you over to Gerd Glaser and Phil Arnold from CI Hub. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Theo, and thank you for organizing that webinar. So good evening to all of you, or maybe good afternoon. My name is Gerd. I'm CSO at CI Hub. So Andreas would join the session, but he got stuck in traffic in Asia. So apologize for this, but we have instead Phil Arnold with us. If you would like to give a short introduction, Phil.
Of course, thanks, Gerd. Hi, everyone. I'm Phil Arnold. I'm partner manager at CI Hub. Looking forward to any questions you send through. I will pick those up and we'll go through those at the end.
All right. Thank you very much, Phil. So I would like to start with just a few words about CI Hub. CI Hub was founded 2020. We're based in Germany, main offices in Berlin, but offices also in Frankfurt and Gießen. Our team has many years of experience in marketing software, agency management, consulting, and DAM implementation. Our software team is based in Gießen, but also, I would say, around the world, a few developers. And our mission is to seamlessly integrate platform content into the most used applications, empowering business at scale and ensuring a smooth flow of data. We help currently around about 2,500 customers worldwide to increase engagement with their users and their preferred applications, leading to a more productive, engaging, and relevant experience with more than around about 70 out-of-the-box connected platforms. Our product is the CI Hub Connector family. It's a headless framework with feature-rich, unique, and focused components. First product is CI Hub Connector Professional, mainly for the creative professionals. It's the world-leading connector for professionals, standard connectivity. Second product is the CI Hub Connector Corporate. We call it content in context. This is the first in-app brand portal for streamlined brand management. And at least we have the CI Hub Drive, which we call it is a DAM on desktop. So that is really the best way to connect your organization to data and assets. I will give you a short live demo. I don't love to do live demos, but I think it's worth to show some features at the end of the presentation. So our products are natively integrated in around about 26 applications. That is Adobe Creative Cloud, Microsoft Office, including SharePoint. And for UX and UI design, it's Figma and Sketch, running on both environments, macOS or in Windows. We also support the cloud productivity apps, which is Adobe Express, and of course, Office 365 cloud applications, the Google Workspace, and the Figma online version. We're also natively integrated in WordPress, Adobe Experience Manager, Salesforce. We're currently finalizing the Canva integration, and the next step on our map will be HubSpot. As said before, around about 70 DAM PIM platforms are already connected out of the box. Some of them are listed here. And our products are really highly valued. So when you look at our reviews, we have mostly 4.5 to 5-star ratings by users. It's really a good amount of ratings we have in there. And of course, that comes also through some knowledge transfer when it comes to using dam content within applications. Mostly there are some restrictions. Therefore, we have an onboarding manager, Natalia. She supports and onboards new customers to make the most out of the CI Hub connector itself. If you want to see more about us, I would recommend to take a look at the September DAM webinar. This is a use case we built with a real world customer use case. It was with our partner Acquia. And if you want to meet our team and see our products live, if you have the time to go there, we're on DAM Paris, 19th and 20th of November. So one of the main topics in this session is the transformative power of the CI Hub product family and its place in the ecosystem. So that's just an intro to what we're doing. So our goal is to connect assets to the enterprise and help to effectively distribute them. And to understand how we connect and how we distribute, we should first have a look at the channel strategy. At the end, it's all about the file formats, the specifications, and the different flows. There are single strategies, multi-strategies running in parallel, cross-channel and omni-channel strategies where data flows in multiple directions. And understanding this, you will have all the details regarding format specifications and the different flows in the enterprise teams where they are working on. And that leads us to the journey mapping. And this helps us to outline when and where assets and content are needed. That's really helpful to identify all these single points where those assets and those contents are needed. And globally, from an enterprise perspective, the channel strategy and the journey mapping leads us to the customer journey. And this is how enterprises sells and communicate products to the customers. And it doesn't matter if it's B2B or B2C, but from a connector and a distribution process, it shows us that there are lots of cross-department dependencies and inputs. And this is where the CI Hub connector comes into the game. Now, it's important to know where the CI Hub connector can make the flow work. Enterprises have built a MarTech foundation, which is often horizontal integration. And that MarTech stack sits beneath the channels and the customer journey. And it's mostly used via browser. And when we look at the departments and the teams, there has to be a vertical integration. There are various apps that the teams are using to create, manipulate, and adapt the content. And that could be from a creative perspective, a corporate sales and strategy perspective, or from a UX, UI design perspective. So it could become, it could become quite complex, and the MarTech foundation is important to have the content at scale. That is the place where the team members have to engage by using various applications. I've created a simple example to demonstrate where we are exactly and where we connect them to the enterprise. So a simple example, it's all about connect and distribute. So if you have a DAM and a PIM system, it's really a horizontal integration. So it's a downstream process, is automated, optimized, and personalized. But many companies forget during optimization that there are still plenty of tasks before distribution. For example, the create and approval processes. So could be photographer or 3D artist who makes the initial upload to the DAM, usually from Photoshop. Then the image editor who accesses campaign-specific assets from the DAM, finalizes the product image, and checks it back into the DAM. We have product managers or librarians who either adds the necessary data into the PIM or adds metadata, performs the keywording, and inserts tags. And all these tasks can be carried out within the application via the iHub connector. There is no window hopping going back and forth in different browser applications, and there are no duplicates on local hard drives. And that really supports that single source of truth principle for a DAM. And it saves an enormous amount of time. We have some use cases with customers, and they say it saves around about 60% of their time when it comes to dealing with assets, links, etc. And even if work managements are included, such as Workfront or Asana, the tasks can be viewed within the application, and users can make comments or change the status of a task. That's all done within the application. And again, none of the team members have ever to leave their usual working environment. And when it comes to production, this is also the main part. Designers can access the content, for example, from Illustrator. They can create their packaging and push the print-ready file back into the DAM without ever leaving the app. They remain focused on their projects because they can access all the components within, for example, Illustrator. And when it comes to print, designers don't have to deal with packaged Illustrator files with hundreds of megabytes, upload them to a shared volume, and the print service provider can access the files via the iHub, automatically relink the assets coming out of the DAM, and start their production. And in parallel, the sales team can already access the new products in PowerPoint. They can finalize their sales presentations. Everything stays on brand. And for Web Content Manager, they can also access the content. Let's say they're working in Figma, they can access the DAM, all its content. Illustrator files can then be used as a PNG or a JPEG via the rendition function using the iHub. So that means the designer doesn't have to create various file types like PNGs for here and maybe an SVG there, whatever. That's all done anyhow in the backend of a DAM system where they create the renditions automatically. And more than that, web designers can also create compositions within Figma, for example, and they can upload those compositions back to the DAM without leaving Figma. And those compositions can be made available via CDN for an e-commerce platform or something like that. Social media managers can also access the DAM, for example, via Adobe Express, and easily create the content for various channels. Even if partner managers are involved, they need to access maybe the content within SharePoint. iHub allows them to access DAM content from SharePoint, easily link and relink images and documents and publish them automatically within SharePoint. So everything stays connected. Even when an asset gets updated, SharePoint will also be updated. So to create and manage content with iHub will save time for each team member. And this workflow will not produce any duplicates scattered on local devices. And it makes every DAM the central repository for print, sales, web, social media, and partner management. Another thing is, if an asset gets once updated, a product gets modified, and the asset has to be updated within the DAM. And once that happens in the DAM, because everything is connected via the iHub to the DAM, all the assets that have been manually created will automatically get an update. So every marketing asset remains in the DAM and it's available in real time. And this is where the iHub enhances really the vertical integration with the three products, the CI Hub Connector Professional with a creative focus, the Connector Corporate with a distribute focus, and the CI Hub Drive for desktop experience. And that's a new way to deliver enhanced performance via these workflows. So professional, used by around about 2,500 customers worldwide, running natively in 26 applications, and out of the box connected to 70 DOM, PIM, or stock providers. So here are a few of them. So there's no integration project necessary. CI Hub is connected out of the box. And our team does the maintenance for these connections, and our team also maintains our products in individual applications. So whenever there is an update announced, for example, by Adobe, like that happens with InDesign, you can be sure that our products are aligned with the latest versions. And the cool thing is we have a unified interface, whatever application is used. So if you're in Adobe Photoshop, if you're in Adobe InDesign, or if you're in Adobe Premiere Pro or Adobe After Effects, and also if you're working in the Microsoft environment, PowerPoint, for example, or if you're in Word, or even if you're in Outlook, it's always the same look and feel, the same features, the same functions. There is no learning curve to manage assets within CI Hub. And even as you can see in Outlook, if you need to send an image or a preview of an image, you can use the rendition feature and maybe place a low-res file within an email or attach a file with a higher resolution to an email and just send them out. It's quite easy. And if we go beyond the studio and the creative, we have that corporate connector that really supports the corporate users. These are the brand consumers at the end, made available for sales, HR, or admins, or for support. But it also supports the brands, the brand when it comes to dealers, partners, or retailers. And of course, creative agencies, they have to deal with multiple brands and therefore with multiple dealers, partners, and retailers. So everything is well organized. It's a simple structure, and it makes kind of brand assets available without any modification within the DAM system. It's all based on tags. So that's quite simple. You can make a kind of a brand portal out of every DAM system. There's no huge project or modification necessary. It's all done with taggings. And at least the CI Hub Drive, based on the operating system, it's also out of the box connected. It uses the macOS Finder, or it uses the Microsoft Windows Explorer. Available with all those features like full text search, on offline availability, versioning, and metadata. So we have a few challenges coming up in 25. That's what we've been asked since a few weeks. So the first topic I would show is the CEP versus UXP. So the CEP extensions will continue to run for the time being, but Adobe has already announced that the future focus will be on UXP technology. But therefore, we've got you covered. So CI Hub will have InDesign and Illustrator, Photoshop, and all the other applications UXP ready. So what we have seen so far in Q2 25, I've tested the InDesign products 2025. It's running with the CI Hub connector without any issue. The next thing we had on our desk, and that was also heavily requested by customers, is sorry, we have those Firefly capabilities now available in InDesign. That could be either the generative expand, or that could also be maybe the text to image. So the thing is, it's no longer Photoshop who has to deal with new assets and you have to make them available. So from now on, any layouter is able to manipulate assets within their layout tool. So let's say it's here in InDesign. And the thing is, you create those assets and they're scattered and stored on your local hard drive. So you spend money on that because that's a paid solution at the end, and you create assets, which is a real huge time saver, and then they get stored on a local hard drive and they're not publicly available, or at least for the team available. So the question from our customers was, is that doable to bring those assets directly into the DAM? So that's what we did. And I will try to do a short live demo on how that looks like for maybe in InDesign. So simple InDesign document. I have the CI Hub connector here up and running, open that document. And if you want, let's say people want to just place an image from an asset, we use that one. And as you can see, the image doesn't really fit into the frame. So let's say you want to expand that image, you have to go to your colleague and say, okay, go into Photoshop, try to make the best out of it. But with the generative expand now, you easily select that image and you click on generative expand and you click on generate. And what's going to happen is that Firefly and Adobe technique behind will expand that image and create a new image, which is definitely stored only on your local device. So that means if that is, once it's done, maybe it takes a few seconds. So now it's done. You have the option to select 3 of them. They all look quite a bit different, but you can use one of them. And that asset is stored locally on your hard drive. So how to get those assets into the DAM? That's quite simple. You just go into your DAM system via CI Hub connector. I've created a folder here. And if you click that Add File button, you can easily select that image. This is the one, and you see also the naming is a total variable at the end, but you can give it a new file name. Let's maybe test HSE. And now that image that has been generated will be uploaded to the DAM and is immediately available for all your team members. This is the one we got here. And what happens if that has to be linked to the DAM? Quite simple, you just go here and say replace, and it's done. So now that image is linked to the new image, which exists then in the DAM. You can see that over here. So it's in my DAM, all good, no missing links. And that's the perfect tool to manage those kind of stuff. Yeah, if you have to create those generative images. The same is for, let's say, if you want to do images from the scratch. I think I have prepared some text in here. So if you want to create an image from the scratch, okay, that's what happens here. Okay, let me start and create a new one. So let's say we're going to do text to image. Take a prompt. I will create an ice cold iced tea with a fancy straw presented on a dark green Pickle plant. So we say generate. So that's what's going to happen. It's generating the file. And here we go, we have it. So same stuff, that's somewhere on your desktop, but you can easily go back into your DAM, the CI Hub. You can add that file, select that one, it's a gen image, let's name it iced tea, hit the OK, and then the asset's going to be uploaded to your DAM. Takes a while to generate the preview. I'm going to refresh the view, and here we go. So immediately available for all your team members. I think that's really helpful when it comes to those assets that have been generated on the fly. Really cool stuff. So the same is with assets that have been generated automatically. The next question we got is, InDesign has a new feature, InDesign to Express. So how can we manage that? What, if anything, is needed within Adobe Express? So that's also something we've got you covered. So you can then move Adobe InDesign files to Adobe Express automatically. And if you need to work in Adobe Express and you need additional assets like logos or any kind of DAM content within Adobe Express, there is the CI Hub connector for Adobe Express that present all the content of the DAM, and you can use it within Adobe Express. I can give you an example for that. If we say, okay, I'll get rid of the other page in here. Don't need that. Let's say here, and if you go to export for Adobe Express, it's gonna render all the materials, all the frames, and moves it into Adobe Express. That's also gonna take a short amount of time, and Adobe Express is open, and now you have your InDesign document available here in Adobe Express. And if you want to add your add-ons, quite easy. You can add it here once. And as you can see, you have the same access as you had in InDesign, and you can manipulate. Everything is frame-based, so you can move things around. But if there is the ability to create a template out of that, you can always lock content. So it couldn't be moved, or even it can't be edited. There are two ways to lock that. And if you work on that and you create maybe some animations, what you want to do, you want to move that back into your DAM. And I've prepared something here. It's the same way of working. So it's just a simple animation I did, and it's with sound, and it can be then stored maybe as an MP4 file. So what do you have to do? You just go again into the CI Hub connector. You click on Add File, select the document, select the type. I want that to be an MP4 file. You can give it a name, HSE, and that video will, that animation, let's say, will be rendered and will be uploaded as a MP4 file into your DAM. So that's available for every team member. That'll take a while because the MP4 file is not so easy to deal with. I did that before, so that takes maybe a minute, 90 seconds to render that file and move it into your DAM. But once it's done, I did that already here, and as you can see, it's just ready to go and ready to provide any third-party system with the content out of your DAM. So that's what we're doing here. And InDesign to Express, When it comes to knowledge workers, and we're using the CI Hub Drive, that is how it looks. Quite simple. What does a knowledge worker do? They want to work on their, let's say, Word documents or Excel sheets or whatever, and they want to have business as usual. So they want to browse their folder system, they want to open files from their folder system, hit the save button, and it's good to go. They don't want to deal with access to DAM systems, do uploads. But with the CI Hub connector, it's really easy to deal. So this is how it looks. So this is the CI Hub Drive. I've connected two systems right now. One is the Binder DAM system, and I've connected a Google Drive. And it's quite easy. This is how it looks like, because you get a virtual volume on your desktop and you can easily browse those files, folders. You even have searches that can be stored. That means recurring searches are always stored just like a folder, and the folder name is the search term. So whenever you click on that, that triggers the search within the DAM system, or in that case, the Google Drive, and you get your result. It's always updated. The little icon shows that those files are not locally downloaded, not locally available. You only get a preview, and that's all. And if you are working on those files, let's say, okay, I want to go in some collections, go in my collections, a new folder, there's a Word document. You can see that has no icon behind, so that's already locally available. Making files locally available is just clicking and they are locally available. So you can easily double click a file that's originally stored within your DAM. You can work on it, do your changes, and if you hit the save button, I will quickly switch, you will see that it immediately syncs the file within the DAM. So that means everyone is able to work locally on files, just hit the save button and everything is synced with the DAM. So if I take a look on that file, I can open it in the browser, which means I can directly go to that file within my DAM system and it shows up here. It'll take a while until the preview is generated, but you will then have a perfect preview. So this is how we say it's DAM on desktop. It's the whole content is available. And the really cool thing is you also have any kinds of metadata available. So if I check that one with the three dots behind, and if I take a look, you see here are all the metadata, and that means it's searchable. So you can search within your operating system, even with tags. If you go to tags and you see this is all content from the DAM. And as you can see, it's totally quick because it's indexed. And that's the real deal, I would say, if you want to have DAM content on your local machine without having the physical files. But on the other hand, all the capabilities, searching, search for text, filtering, and all that stuff. That's really amazing. And there is more than that. Even if you want to filter or use the filters that have been built in your DAM, there is another window where you can simply use the filters of your DAM, set the filters, and it automatically it decreases the search result in here. Everything what you see is always based on the roles and rights management the user has for that system. So if there are collections he is not allowed to see, they won't come up here. Okay, so that's that part with the DAM on desktop. The third part is the brand management. This is the corporate connector. I will give you a sneak preview. We will go in a public beta in a few weeks so that you can test it and get a feeling of how that works. I've prepared a simple stuff here. I'm currently in Figma What you can do, this is how it looks like. What you can do, multiple systems, of course, but the really cool thing is, if they are activated here, if you search for a file, it searches, it searches all connected systems. So if they're activated, let's get rid of that. If they are activated, Dropbox is not active. So let's take that one. Never do a presentation, okay? And what you can see here is everything is built by tags. So if I go to all, it shows all the available brand components that are necessary to deal with. You can filter them easily. If you go back and say, okay, I just need the drive product, I need the drive colors, and I need maybe the hero images in here. So it shows everything, and it's immensely quick. That's really cool stuff if you want to organize your brand components. Even if you need additional information, you will get it over here. That's all DAM content. So there's nothing needed to configure or to rebuild in a DAM system. It's all available based on tags and filters. What's currently not running here, maybe I have to realign that, but you can have an overall search over all these connected systems. So if you type a search term, you'll get a result out of all these systems. Sorry, but it's a beta version. Maybe I have to log in again, but that's at the end how it works. And the result anyhow is then again placeable, like I did it here before. Not only images, also all metadata content is just draggable into your canvas. So that's so far what I've got. So if you want to check out a free trial, you can have it. Just go to the website cihub.com. There are free trials available for all of our products, 30-day free trial. And for the CI Hub visit, for the Henry Stewart participants, we offer a 50% discount if someone wants to order licenses and try it out, work on them, use them for their daily job. That's a 50% discount. Just use the promo code HSE 2024. That will be valid until November 30th and for all registered participants. So that's all what I got so far. If you have any questions, or are there any questions?
There are. We have quite a few questions for you, Gerd. Let me scroll back down to the beginning of them. Do we have any support for Adobe XD?
Nope. So we don't have. We try to, but there are only a few users, and that's why we focused on other products like Adobe Express, because we think and we have a feeling, and what we've heard from a lot of people, Adobe Express and Figma, this is the real deal at the end for those designers, kind of designers.
Yeah. That makes sense. And also, you mentioned near the beginning support coming for Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Are you
Exactly.
able to clarify a little bit more about what that will cover in terms of functionality and expected release timescales?
So it is already released, but as we all know, it takes maybe weeks, sometimes months to get listed on the Salesforce platforms. That's heavy business. So as soon as it's listed, it's tested by Salesforce. We had internal tests. It's up and running, but it's not listed in the add-ons pool right now. But it covers at the end a connection to all our 70 platforms we are out of the box connected to. What you can do if you're in the marketing platform. If you create an email, you can easily grab an asset from a DAM system, do croppings for that particular asset. You can even access all the renditions that are available in the connected systems, do your croppings, and place them into your marketing emails, campaigns, whatever is necessary. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Thank you. You also talked earlier on about support for new releases of the desktop applications, especially the Adobe Creative Cloud. How
Right.
about backward support for older versions? How long do we maintain support for versions that have been superseded with later ones, but perhaps not yet
Yeah.
deprecated by the vendor?
So I would say it's always the actual version -3. That's the rule of thumb, I would say.
Okay.
But we have customers, I think, running that on 2019 or something like that, for example, and we had no issues so far.
Okay. Next, we have a question about naming conventions of the rendition images.
Mhm.
Is there a standard naming convention? Is it customizable? How does that work?
This, what you can see here, always depends on what the connected system provides. So if the connected system provides that naming, we will show it here. Other connections will have other namings, other resolutions, but that's a simple configuration in the DAM system. Whatever is in the DAM system configured, it'll show up here. Also,
Okay,
if there's a label that is definable, it'll show up here. Yeah.
great. So if the source DAM system allows customizing of the naming convention to include file type, resolution, that
Exactly.
kind of thing, you can do whatever you want.
Exactly. Some of them provide either some tooltips. So if they say this is my web resolution, and if you hover, you get a tooltip, and then it shows the definite resolution. Maybe then it's 1024, 1024, or something like that. That's totally dynamic. Whatever is set up in the connected system, it'll come up in that area over here.
Super. So for those that ask that question, if you're not seeing the options you want, please talk to your DAM vendor. Hopefully they can help you. There's another question come in about uploading assets into the DAM via the CI Hub connector if they've then been placed into an InDesign document, for example.
Mhm.
Is it possible to apply and edit metadata at the point of initial ingest into the DAM through?
So yeah, that is doable as long as the API supports that. So we have customers, they say, okay, if you upload an asset, there is then a drop down menu and they have to choose between existing tags. That's doable, yeah. But that always depends on the connected systems. Whatever they provide, that can be added here because that add file area is also totally dynamic. Yeah, it's doable.
Perfect. Next question is about Canva. You mentioned that support is coming. Are you
Yeah.
able to provide any information on when it can be expected, or is that similar to the Salesforce issue of it
No.
out of our hands?
So if I would do that, the dev guys will gonna kill me. So I'm not able to say anything about the release date. They are heavily working on that, and they're very close to the Canva guys. Um, but we'll keep you updated. If you check our newsletters, we will do pre-release informations. So whenever we can see that it's up and running, we will keep everyone updated. Or if you leave a message, you can also, maybe we will have a form to register for Canva that will come next week. If you register for early access, you you'll get the first versions, the beta versions, if you want to have that.
Perfect. Thank you. There's another question about Adobe Workfront support.
As I said or showed in my demo, we support Workfront. So what you can do is you see all your tasks. So it's not only that you see here folders, there will be an additional symbol, or there is an additional symbol that leads you to all the tasks. All the tasks will then be listed here in a list view. You can click on a task. You can see all the details, what has been written in there. You see all the attachments. If there is an attached image, for example, or an attached InDesign document, you can just drag that over and it will be opened. You can add comments in that area, and you can change the status of a task also in that area. That's what we currently have, but we are working with the Workfront guys to optimize that and to have more features. But this is the current status, what you can do currently with Workfront.
Super, thank you. The next one we have is a feature request. Can we please replace the the iced tea and deliver mojitos instead? I guess it's always 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Okay. The only thing that I can provide you is having maybe a cold beer. That's what I just generated a few hours ago.
Perfect. And questions coming from the same source of the feature request are about the various renditions of files. Are they being generated by CI Hub or directly in the DAM?
No. Renditions are always generated by the DAM, because that happens after the initial upload, or if an asset has been updated, gets a new version. That is always rendered within the DAM system, and whatever renditions they provide, we can access them. Yeah.
Cool. And is that then the same for user permissions in terms of what assets they can access and what they can do to those assets?
Exactly. So I mean, if you connect to a system, I mean, I'm currently connected to maybe 20 systems. So whenever I connect to a system, let's say I'm connecting to Adobe Stock, you need your credentials. And with these credentials, at the end, the roles and rights will be available then within CI Hub connector. Whenever you have the right to add an asset or to see maybe collections or whatever, that's all reflected within the CI Hub connector. So if I'm connected to Adobe Stock, yeah, and you have the right to purchase images, you will be able to purchase images. There is then a deep link that leads you to the purchasing part. If not, it will be grayed out. So everything that is set up for your account, you will have the same roles and rights within CI Hub Connector.
Great. The next one is not a question, it's a comment. It's the kind of comments that we love. It says, we love using CI Hub in our Adobe Creative apps connecting to our Acquia DAM and looking forward to expanding this with our Google apps too. That's wonderful to hear. Thank you.
Okay, that makes us happy at the end of the year.
Now, the way these questions are managed in the webinar app is a little bit confusing, so it takes me a little while to find where I got to. What about zero height? Have you guys explored this application? Design library and brand guidelines are built for it in our UX and Fed teams. It would be nice to be able to pull in DAM assets similar to SharePoint. I don't know zero height. Is that one you've come across?
No, not yet, but so I think just write us a message. Whoever wrote that question, shoot us an email, and we will be in contact with those guys. We're always happy to add some additional integrations.
Yeah. And another related question, do we have any plans to support an integration with Microsoft Dynamics 365?
Yeah, so what we have planned is to go work a bit closer with the Microsoft guys. Whenever we have a chance to talk to them, we will do that. But that's something we will focus on in 2025. Yeah.
Cool. And another question about CI Hub Drive. Is there an additional license cost for Drive for DAM on desktop?
So these are three products, and all the three products come with a different pricing. This is an additional cost, but whenever there is a plan to bundle maybe products, just talk to the sales team at CI Hub. We will find a solution for that.
Okay. That's, where's I got to? Is there any sort of CI Hub web browser JavaScript plugin to allow developers to integrate CI Hubs into web applications via a JavaScript API?
That's also often requested. We were thinking about that to make kind of an open source part available, but that's also something we will think about in 25 because we had some of these requests already. Yeah.
Yeah, that's be a really interesting concept. I love that idea.
Uh, Indeed.
Do we yet have pricing available for Canva?
Not yet, but I assume we will have that maybe at the end of this year latest. So I think there will be a pricing available in December.
Cool. Thank you. What about any plans to support Smartsheet?
The DAM system, Smartsheet.
I assume Smartsheet rather than brand folder.
Okay. So we have to talk to the guys from Smartsheet. We're already connected to the brand folder system. But if you're talking about Smartsheet, I think you mean maybe brand folder.
Let me ask to check. This was a new question. Do you mean brand folder? Oops. Okay, let's see if we get clarity on that one before we end. Then there's no need to apologise for all the questions. This is wonderful. It is there is a lot to go through. Right, another question. Do we still have to refresh or relink assets when opening another user's work? I use AquaDAM with InDesign.
That always depends on what you want to do. If you open an existing InDesign document, I can give you an example. So let's say I am opening an InDesign document. Let's say this one. There is no need to download the assets. So you can work on that document, do any changes you want to do. Whatever happens, you don't need to download the assets. You only need to relink the asset when it comes to a production, because that's the InDesign thing. You need to have the files, the linked files physically available to do a high-res production.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to relink the files once to do a high-res production, but then you can also get rid of them. Whatever is happening in the DAM system, that's why we did that check. I mean, you can also see if you run a check against your DAM system and you see maybe you get a warning somewhere that an asset has been updated, or like that one here where it says, okay, there's a newer file available. I mean, you can just relink that one file and you're good to go. And you will see that this image will be updated. So you're good to go. You see the layout, and this is the end product you will get. If you don't need to do a high-res production, you don't need to relink them all. What some of our customers are doing is, but that's always depending on your team, how your team is set up. The temporary cache is currently in the standard on your local device, but we have also customers that using a shared temporary device, maybe a shared volume. It could also be maybe a OneDrive for shared content. So if one user relinks all the assets for a document, they will then be temporarily stored in a shared folder. And all the other team members, if they open a document, they will have the same access. They have to use the same shared folder, and then it works for the team.
Perfect. Thank you. Next question is about support for Viva Vault, which isn't listed on our website. We don't have an integration with Viva Vault at the moment, but if you'd like one, please talk to them, and we can talk to them as well and see if there's an option there. There was clarification on Smartsheet. It was about Smartsheet project management, not brand folder.
Okay. No, we don't have it currently, but we're quite close to Smartsheet. We can talk to them. We'll see. That could
definitely worth talking to them on that one. So we'll look into that. One comment, also not a question, a really interesting webinar. Thank you for putting everything together. We're a future customer, looking forward to working with you and your team, and that beer looks good.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right.
Wonderful. So we're getting, I think that's all the questions we've got, and we've pretty much running out of time as well.
Okay. So I would say thank you very much for joining that session to all of you, and I wish you a wonderful day.
Great.
Thank you, Gerd. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Gerd and Phil, for an excellent presentation, and our audience for all the great questions today. Just a reminder that the link to access the recording of this webinar will be sent to all participants tomorrow. And thank you, everyone, for attending today's session. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.